The rain poured in silver sheets over the crowded street, blurring the city lights into trembling halos. Daniel Reeves, CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, sat in the back of his black Mercedes, staring absently through the tinted glass. His phone buzzed with notifications, emails, stock alerts, meeting reminders, but he ignored them. His mind was somewhere else. It had been 2 years since his wife, Lily, passed away while giving birth to their daughter, Emma. He was left with a hole that no amount of wealth, power, or prestige could fill. That morning, Daniel had promised himself that he'd finally take Emma out for a simple walk in the park. No bodyguards, no nannies, just father and daughter. The world might see him as a tycoon, but in that moment, he wanted to be only a dad. He parked near the park entrance, holding Emma's tiny hand as they strolled along the gravel path. The little girl, now 2 years old, was radiant, her mother's eyes, her mother's smile. She giggled as pigeons scattered around her, her curls bouncing in the damp air. Daniel smiled faintly, something soft melting in his chest. As they reached the playground, Emma let go of his hand and toddled toward a woman sitting on a worn bench beneath a tree. The woman was dressed in faded clothes, her shoes looked years old, and a few strands of graying hair escaped her scarf. She was holding a small paper bag and watching the world with quiet eyes. "Hi," Emma chirped, her voice bright and innocent. "Do you have cookies?" The woman chuckled softly, her voice gentle but weary. "I have one left, sweetheart. Would you like it?" Before Daniel could intervene, Emma nodded eagerly. The woman broke the cookie in half and gave a piece to the little girl. Daniel walked over, smiling politely but cautious. "I'm sorry, ma'am." She can be quite friendly with strangers. The woman looked up, and something in her expression froze him. There was a flicker of recognition, then deep sadness. "You're Daniel Reeves," she said quietly. "I used to be your wife's nurse." Daniel stopped breathing for a second. The rain, the chatter of the park, everything faded. "My wife's nurse. Yes," the woman said, her voice trembling slightly. "Lily. I was with her at the hospital before she passed." His throat tightened. Memories flooded back. Lily's laughter, her soft hands, the hospital room's sterile smell, the last time he saw her alive. He had buried himself in work after that, building walls so high that no memory could break through. But now, standing before this stranger who once stood beside Lily in her final hours, those walls cracked. He gestured for her to sit with him on the bench. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Rosa," she said. "Rosa Carter." Daniel's eyes flicked over her again. She looked nothing like the nurses he remembered, her uniform gone, her posture weary. Something in her face told him she'd seen hardship. How do you know Emma?" he asked, still trying to steady his breath. Rosa smiled faintly. "I don't. But when she came to me, I couldn't help but think how much she looks like her mother. Lily used to talk about you in your dreams, about how you'd build something meaningful together. She loved you, Daniel." Her words pierced him like a blade, simple, yet devastating. "I failed her," Daniel murmured. "She wanted me there more often, but I was always at work. The night she went into labor, I was in a meeting halfway across the city. I didn't even get there in time." Rosa's eyes softened. "She didn't blame you. Not once. She was scared, yes, but she kept saying, 'Daniel will be the best father in the world.' Those were her last words to me." Tears burned his eyes. He turned away, pretending to watch Emma chasing birds. "Why didn't I ever see you again?" he asked, quietly. Rosa's expression darkened for a moment. "I lost my job soon after Lily's death. My son was sick, and I couldn't manage both work and his treatments. I tried to reach out, to tell you something Lily wanted you to know, but I couldn't get past your office. Your assistants wouldn't let me through." Daniel clenched his jaw. He remembered that time, the chaos after Lily's death, how he'd instructed his staff to handle unnecessary visitors. Now the memory felt like a wound reopening. "What did she want me to know?" he asked. Rosa reached into her worn bag and pulled out a small, folded envelope. The paper had yellowed with time. "She asked me to give this to you if anything happened to her. I tried, Daniel. I really did." With trembling hands, he opened the envelope. Inside was a letter written in Lily's elegant handwriting. "My dearest Daniel, if you're reading this, it means I didn't make it. Please don't blame yourself. I know you're trying to build a better life for us, but remember, love isn't measured in money or success. It's in the small moments, the time we give, the laughter we share. Promise me you'll raise Emma with love, not luxury. Teach her kindness, not pride. And if you ever meet Rosa again, please help her. She's been more than a nurse to me, she's a friend. Always yours, Lily. Daniel's tears fell freely. He folded the letter carefully, clutching it to his chest. I had no idea, he whispered. No one told me. Rosa smiled sadly. It's all right. Life has its ways of hiding the truth until we're ready for it. For a moment, they sat in silence, just the sound of rain dripping from the branches, Emma's laughter echoing in the distance. Finally, Daniel looked at Rosa and asked, "How have you been? You said your son was sick." Rosa nodded. "He's better now, thank God. But the treatments drained everything I had. We lost our home last year. I work part-time at a diner now." Something shifted in Daniel's heart. This woman, who had cared for Lily, who had carried her last words through years of struggle, was now living in hardship while he sat in wealth beyond measure. "Rosa," he said softly, "I can never repay you for what you did. But please, let me help you. You and your son. It's what Lily would have wanted." She shook her head. "I don't want charity." "It's not charity," Daniel insisted. "It's gratitude. It's closure, for both of us." Rosa hesitated, her eyes filling with tears. Then she nodded slowly. Over the next few weeks, Daniel kept his promise. He found Rosa and her son a new apartment, covered the boys' remaining medical expenses, and offered Rosa a position in the charitable foundation his company had recently launched, one that Lily had dreamed of starting before she passed. Rosa became the heart of that foundation, organizing healthcare support for struggling families. Meanwhile, Daniel changed too. The man who once lived in boardrooms and contracts began spending his evenings at home, reading bedtime stories to Emma, taking her to the park, learning to cook pancakes on weekends. For the first time, his mansion felt like a home. But his transformation didn't come without challenges. The board of directors questioned his decisions when he redirected company funds to social programs. Investors accused him of being too emotional. The media painted him as a CEO losing his edge. But Daniel no longer cared. He'd learned that strength wasn't in cold ambition, it was in compassion, in choosing people over profit. One day, at the foundation's first major event, Daniel stood on the stage with Rosa beside him. The hall was filled with doctors, volunteers, and families whose lives had been changed. Emma, now sitting in the front row, waved at her father proudly. Daniel looked at the crowd and took a deep breath. 2 years ago, I thought success was measured by how high you climbed. But today, I know it's measured by how many people you lift with you. This foundation isn't just my wife's dream, it's her legacy. She believed in kindness, in helping those who once helped us. And thanks to one remarkable woman, I finally understood that. He turned toward Rosa, who wiped a tear from her cheek, and smiled. "Thank you, Rosa, for everything." The room erupted in applause. After the ceremony, Rosa approached Daniel quietly. "You know," she said, "I think Lily would be proud of you." Daniel smiled, eyes glistening. "I hope so. Sometimes I still feel her around, especially when Emma laughs." Rosa nodded. "That's because love doesn't disappear, Daniel. It just changes form." As the evening light filtered through the glass ceiling, Daniel lifted Emma into his arms. She rested her head on his shoulder, whispering sleepily, "Daddy, Mommy's happy now, right?" He hugged her tight. "Yes, sweetheart. She's smiling down on us." That night, after putting Emma to bed, Daniel stood on the balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly below. He took out Lily's letter and read it once more, feeling peace wash over him. He had spent years chasing success, but in the end, it was a poor woman's voice, a child's laughter, and a letter of love that showed him the true meaning of life. He whispered into the night, "Thank you, Lily. For sending Rosa. For sending me back to myself." And for the first time in years, Daniel Reeves, the once unshakable CEO, smiled not as a businessman, but as a man who had finally learned what it meant to love, to heal, and to live again. Moral: sometimes, life's richest lessons come from the poorest moments, and the people we least expect. True wealth isn't found in what we own, but in the hearts we touch and the love we leave behind.